Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Audiomotive. Brian here. I just want to open up this episode with a quick apology. We had some audio issues during the recording of this episode, and unfortunately, due to our time constraints, we weren't able to go back and re-record. So we cleaned it up the best we could to give you the best episode that we could make of it out of what the recordings we had. It's a very fun episode, hit on a lot of topics. Hope you guys all really enjoy it. We'll be back next week. We'll have the audio problems fixed. But for now, we hope you enjoy episode 2 of Audiomotive.
Welcome to another episode of Audiomotive. As usual, I'm Dova.
I'm Bizzle.
And we're going to go ahead and get started with episode, I almost said season 2.
not quite there yet.
2. Yeah, a little far ahead. But we're going to go ahead and start with episode 2. We're going to kick off episode 2. How many times can I say episode 2?
Oh, God, stop saying episode 2. We're starting with the Ford Focus Electric. Or not the Ford Focus Electric necessarily, but Ford in general, they've came out and said they're going to invest $4.5 billion in electric vehicles by 2020. So we want to go ahead and tend to discuss electric vehicles, where we see them going, what we think about Ford's plan, all here during episode 2. So without further ado, go ahead, Dale.
All right, so kicking off the other half of episode 2. All right, so we both had this on our list of things to talk about, and I think it's a very interesting topic, not only for the sheer amount of money that Ford's dropping into this. It's battery research and 13 new vehicles, right?
Yes.
So, and all this is going to go down by 2020, right? I like kind of the innovation, right? We talked about this last week. Tesla really killing the game right now. Really has a stronghold on the whole electric cars, right? I mean, obviously, GM's been putting out hybrids since the 07 Tahoe, I think, or maybe it was the 09.
Before that, they had in the late 90s, and it's been a topic of a lot of a couple documentaries. Is the EV1 they had in the 90s, their electric car. So they've been doing electric cars for a while at GM, and I think the interesting thing here is kind of seeing the different directions the different automakers are taking.
So that's a good point. Like, they are kind of taking different directions. I think GM is kind of for American cars, I'll say, has had kind of not a foothold, but a decent stronghold on the whole hybrid cars and electric cars. And, Ford Fusion, they have a sedan, right? Ford Fusion is a hybrid, and they have a couple other hybrids.
The Ford Fusion hybrid has probably been one of the more successful ones as well. I know it's gotten rave reviews.
Yeah, I think the C-Max, it's ugly.
Yes.
And I think it needs to be totally overhauled. I kind of don't understand the C-Max, right? Because let's take the Prius, the staple electric car in the United States.
Oh, hybrid,
probably the world, for that matter, right?
Yes, it should go to hybrid.
Right. It's aerodynamic, more or less.
Yes.
And most hybrid cars, I've got a theory that most hybrid cars are ugly because they're more aerodynamic, but that kind of doesn't make sense, right? Because look at the new 63 AMG and the new Ford Mustang line, right? Extremely aerodynamic. They kind of look the same, and I don't think they're ugly. So maybe my theory is a bust, but the C-Max is just hideous to me. And
yes, I think the only they brought it over from Europe, I do believe. And it's kind of supposed to be a bit larger than the Focus. I guess, it's got a bit more upright, not quite a crossover.
It's good for old people. I don't understand how.
I mean, it's like I said, it's larger than the Focus. I guess it gives you a bit more headroom. It sits up a little bit higher than the Focus, I believe. But I don't see the point when you have the Focus that's just so similar.
Right, drop some batteries in that joint and roll on.
Which they are. I mean, as they said, with their new investment in electric cars, they did say they're going to update the Focus with actually some pretty decent specs for an electric car in that price range. 100-mile range on the batteries. They're investing in a new fast charge, which will give you 80% of the charge in 30 minutes. It's not what you can use for a road trip. You're not going to be able to hop across the U.S. with it, of course. It's still a big limitation of electric cars, but
it's a get around towner, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could go.
Hybrids have always been meant to be for the most part.
I mean, especially too, it's if you want to go out for a day's worth of shopping, and as long as every place you go has a charge port, I mean, you could go all over town, do your shopping, go out to eat, whatever, and stay well within your range and keep your car topped off, which really isn't all that terrible. Like I said, but definitely. I'm not ready for an electric car yet. I can't hop up to Milwaukee in 6 hours with an electric car.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
So,
but it is kind of dope, right?
Yeah.
So when I was traveling to Milwaukee, I stayed in Franklin, Tennessee. I always stay in Franklin, Tennessee, especially when I'm traveling from Florida up driving. And a hotel I stayed in actually had hybrid car charging spots, and that was the first time I've ever seen it at a hotel. Right, you kind of see it out in different places. And shout out to Destin, Florida. The Destin Commons, go ahead and name drop me, send me a check. They had the charging ports out there, so it's starting to become, I guess, more popular. Basically, because electric cars are becoming more popular, right?
Yeah.
All those rich people out of Destin,
their
Teslas. But I've seen more Teslas in Milwaukee than I have anywhere else. And I don't know if it's because of big city or not, but I've never seen any charging ports for it.
Oh,
so it's kind of weird, but...
Well, see, I've seen at work, there's a very diverse collection of cars at work, but there's a lot of eco-conscious people, I would say, that where I work at the hospital. I've seen, there's plenty of Teslas. Teslas and Chevy Volts, probably what I see the most of, and then Nissan Leafs. There's no charging points, but I have seen some people, just plug into the normal AC outlet, which I guess when you're working an 8 to 12 hour shift, you'll get plenty of charge to get home.
Yeah.
But the Volt is my favorite electric car out right now because it's the most practical. It eliminates the need for having two cars. Before I bought my Charger, I must admit the idea crossed my mind of just getting a Chevy Volt and not paying for gas when I drive to work and back.
But would you be happy? You wouldn't be happy.
I mean, I would.
I wouldn't be happy with an electric car. I don't think. Part of the enjoyment of having, a car that has some liters in it is the noise.
Yes.
And you don't get that.
The Volt wouldn't end up being my only car. I would end up buying either, a Fiero project car that I've always wanted, or I'd get a Firebird Trans Am.
So you want to go from no gas to all the gas with two of your vehicles.
Yeah, but like this would be like weekend vehicles, cruising vehicles, and I just take the Volt to work most days because it's easy. It's front wheel drive. I don't have to worry about snow or rain and whatever in it. Easy. And like I said, I love the idea of the Volt. I love what GM's done with it. My biggest gripe with the Volt is probably the lack of marketing about what it really does. And that's
my biggest gripe with GM in general.
Yes. Like, we touched on this last time.
Maybe I think they heavily market like 3 cars. The
GMC. All the
did we say GM or Chevy? I think
we said GM because as a whole, they're terrible at marketing.
They market Chevys, and out of the Chevys, they market their. Why can't I think of the name?
The Malibu. Silverado,
obviously.
Yeah.
What's that small sedan?
Cruise.
Yes, the Cruise. Damn it. And did I say Corvettes?
See, they don't really advertise as much though. In commercials, at least on TV, they don't. I think I see some print ads for them, but I don't see many TV adverts. Not that they need them for the Corvette. Everyone knows the Corvette exists.
Speaking of which, let's take a break while I admire this Jaguar commercial on TV right now.
Oh, Lord. So, Dale's taking a break looking at this.
So while we press.
So we're going to press on, complaining about commercials real quick before we get back to electric cars, is the TV commercial. No, they haven't killed the Buick commercial. They also need to kill the GMC commercial, the Rembrandt. The pitcher who can paint the corners.
When I hear that. What the fuck is the white toothpaste?
A pitcher who can paint the corners is called a Rembrandt. I've never heard that saying before.
I haven't either, but that's why I always refer to it as the teeth whitening. Rembrandt white.
So back to our original topic of electric vehicles. I think it's an exciting market. I want to see some more manufacturers looking into more performance-oriented electric cars. BMW just dropped the i8 within the last year. Gorgeous-looking car. I think that's a great idea. You know, all the hypercars, of course, have some hybrid system. Not really counting those because they're still relying mostly on their gas engines. The Tesla...
I thought the T1 was relying mostly electric.
I mean, they're still making a majority of the horsepower from the gas motor. So, I mean, you can't... Like, someone... I think the Porsche and the McLaren have the electric only mode where they can go like 5 miles on electric only.
Yeah, man, that's I got it switched up. So the electric motor adds like an extra something horsepower to like whatever it's sitting at 960 or whatever.
Yeah, it adds like 100 and some to it or thereabouts.
I said 10 because it's insignificant, not because it's the actual number.
Tesla, they've got the P85D, and then you can get the insane mode with it, which the one thing that does bother me with people about Teslas is everyone looks at like Tesla 0 to 60 number and I'm like, oh my God, it's so fast. Yes, but after that 60 miles an hour, the Tesla drops off. Because
all electric cars do.
You make all your torque from 0, you start losing at the end, they don't use transmissions like normal cars do, so they don't have the gearing to really keep it going. Like, if you look at a Prius, it's 0 to 45. It's actually somewhat quick for what it is, for a little economy car, because that electric motor giving it all that extra torque off the line, but after 45 miles an hour, 0 to 45, it takes the same time from like 45 to 60 in Prius, basically.
Having been in the Prius before, sadly, I've experienced.
We do have pictures of that. That
you
time.
Have pictures of me in a Prius. You have pictures of a Halloween costume to a ballin' Prius that was apparently made in China.
Japan, where they do all the crazy stuff to cars. Yes,
on jobs.
We do have a picture, not of Dale in the Prius, but there is a picture of Dale approving a Prius, calling it ballin'. It's out there on the internet. Find it.
That might have been done with Brian Microsoft Paint more than Dale standing still with Prius. Anyway, so pressing on, back on topic. So yeah, I don't really have anything more to talk about with the Ford. I think it's a good move. I think it's a smart move. I'm actually pretty proud of, and this is a segue to later on segment in the show that we're going to talk about. I'm mostly proud of everything, I'll say, that American car companies are doing right now. I think GM's doing a great job, and they've openly said that they're going to start investing more into hybrid. I think they just dropped an insane amount of money on updating the Corvette in Bowling Green.
They're doing it again.
Investing in making money, and the old adage is you can't. You got to spend money to make money.
Yes.
And scared money don't make money. That's the new adage.
And then my last word about the electric cars is I think what's going to be really interesting is a lot of the Japanese companies are offering hybrids. They are also looking to go different ways. I know Honda is heavily looking into hydrogen. GM did hydrogen for a time. They're looking at hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. I know Honda thinks they're a bit more practical, how you can use that fuel cell. You can fuel it more like a normal car. So it's going to be interesting over the next 10, 15 years, seeing what directions the automakers take and kind of what comes out as the the lead. And the biggest thing is all the advances in battery technology that are going to have happen to really get us to a point where the electric car is more viable.
Right, I agree. I actually think we should take some steps backwards and start fueling vehicles with fast food grease again.
I mean, you can still do that. I don't know if the new diesels will do it, but if you are really interested in driving a car in fast food grease, I know for a fact that an old 1980s Mercedes 300D will run on probably anything, but a lot of people will do the fast food conversion to them.
Yeah, see? Boom. And then we need to take it steps into the future and start using algae oil to power vehicles.
Basically, we want all of our listeners that have no desire to really drive a fast performance car, like if you're just driving your Chevy Cruze or driving your Dodge Dart, Ford Focus, whatever, we want you to buy a hybrid or an electric car so you can save more gas for us.
Yeah. You're here first, folks.
We support electric cars fully so we can save more gas.
Just like we support rich people buying cars every year so we can buy them from them.
Yes.
Okay. So pressing on. Where do you want to take this? Do you want to take this?
Well, we did it. We also, another thing that we both were interested in, just to touch on briefly as kind of a segue from electric cars, is the new Chevy Malibu Hybrid.
Oh, yes.
They released their pricing recently. It starts at a very reasonable price, in my opinion.
I think otherwise. And to the listeners, I'll go ahead and take this from here, Bizzle. Thank you.
Let's hear your rant. Go ahead.
Everybody listening, I want you to listen to me since you're listening. So if you look at GM's pricing, right?
Yes.
Let's take the Corvette. We talked a little bit. I don't think we talked too much about this.
We didn't talk about the pricing of it last week.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it a secret. But I'm not going to keep it a secret any longer. The new Corvette starts out at, what, 90,000?
The Z06 starts out at like 70. The Z06 starts out at like 75,000, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's if you want the engine and the four wheels. But if you want the rest of the car,
that's all I want. That's all I want.
That's all I want is the engine and the four wheels. I'll put it in something else, right?
All right. The original MSRP is 79,000.
Yeah. If anybody finds a Z06 for 79,000, I want you to let me know, and then I want to buy it. You don't buy it, I'll buy it. So let's 79,000, whatever it is. I've never seen a Z06 on any website for under 90. So
that's true.
Whether it's a dealer markup or whatever it is, Chevy has this thing of pricing vehicles very high, right? They automatically, even with the ZR1, they came out and said, hey, this is the price, and they immediately compare it to what the price of a comparable Ferrari or Lamborghini or Porsche is.
Yeah,
right?
But they all sold.
They did all sell. That's great. I'm not taking anything from GM. What I am saying is,
okay,
look at the aftermarket, right? To get a real judge and a good understanding of what a car is worth, look at it 1 year used. One owner used with not that many miles on it. I'll say 1 or 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Prime example, take the new Z06. I haven't seen one for under 90K, right? And the ones I have seen for around 90K, 95, they don't have the sports seats in them, and they don't have all the bells and whistles. Right?
Yeah, I do have a problem. I just pulled up the Corvette Z06 pricing webpage. I'm already at 120,000.
Exactly. Prime point, right? I want you to go look at a used Corvette Z06.
We'll pull up cargurus.com, my favorite search.
What I've been looking at, and I can tell you there is one in Cincinnati, red. I really like the color. If the dealership's listening,
hang on, Dave. We got to finish this little segue. Cargurus.com, my favorite place to look for used cars. If anyone from cargurus.com is listening, we will accept any money for the ad placement. Just had to make
horrible bargaining.
Oh,
anyway,
all right. I have one for $85,000 with 2,400 miles.
Exactly, $85,000. I guarantee you that owner at the door will say pay at least $100K.
All right, let me pull back up the pricing tool so we can be objective here. We are always objective here on Audiomotive. We don't have any biases or opinions. We look at everything objectively 100% of the time. especially G8s. If you haven't heard, the Pontiac G8, may Pontiac rest in peace, but the Pontiac G8 is the best car in the world, objectively. I saw it on the internet.
Yeah. So while you're looking at that, I'll go ahead.
All right. Nope. I found it. I've got it pulled up. So, all right, now I'm looking at this Corvette Z06 3LD. According to Chevy's website, the MSRP of a brand new 2016 Corvette Z06
We're talking
3LZ.
2016,
Yes, so there's already a little discrepancy. MSRP'd at $89,000.
No.
Yes.
That's bullshit.
I'm looking at it right now. It's not my fault that you want me to send you the link so you can look at it yourself?
No.
All right, it's not my fault that you're being a hater and you don't believe me. So
I don't believe you at all. You want to know why? Because I don't believe you at all.
Okay,
anyway,
it's fine. So
GM,
it's only lost $4,000. $4,000 after 2,400 miles, and it's the last year's model.
Okay, so maybe that's a bad example. But a great example is the Chevy SS that we talked about last week. So we can both agree on that, correct? That the Chevy SS is overpriced.
Yes.
Then it goes to the used car market. So maybe me saying Corvette was wrong. I'm sorry, listeners. I'm not 100% right all the time. But all the time I am kind of right.
Yes. So, here's my problem with the Chevy SS. It is loaded. Yes. There's two options?
Yeah, spare tires.
You choose your color. You choose your transmission. So there's 4 options now. Color, your transmission, sunroof, and spare tire. So the car is priced as a loaded car. Not everyone wants a loaded car. Personally, I don't want a loaded car. I
like a decked out car.
I mean, I want options. My Charger is basic, but it doesn't look basic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I've got the radio. I've got the Bluetooth, and I've got the speakers. I've got the Hemi. That's really all that matters. And I've got the sport mode.
Yes. So back to what I was saying.
Yes. Right? So the Chevy SS is overpriced.
As an example, I jacked up on that. We'll take the Chevy SS as an example. Okay. What do we say? It dropped $12K in a year.
All right. So let me pull it back up. I just had their. Since we're being scientific today.
Yes, they've dropped a significant amount of money for 1 year of use and not that many months.
So it says from basic, no options. Chevy says from $47,000, $47,500.
Okay, there's no dealership selling. Okay, maybe $47,500.
So I'll find the lowest mileage 2014 SS, and now I got some 2015s popping up. So I got 2015, 600 miles. It says SS base. Really, there's only one. Whatever. 600 miles on the car, $40,000.
Right. So $7K, and it's not even a year old.
No, it's a 2015 model, and on Chevy's website, it's still the 2015s. So $7,000, not a year old,
and 600 miles, not even due for its first oil change.
I really think $40,000 is where this car should have started from.
Definitely should have started from $40,000, maybe 42, and then worked its way down.
Now, I will say that the Zeta platform that the SS rides on and some of the options it comes with is a better choice than what you get from Dodge. But for people buying a muscle sedan, the Dodge Charger SRT8 or the Dodge Charger RT Scat Pack looks a lot better than the SS because you get
way more attractive of a car.
60 more horsepower and torque just off the lot.
But you don't get the same performance numbers and things, right? So we've kind of talked about this last week. Really, actually, the GM was focusing on the whole car concept, and they're not chasing the horsepower war that Dodge decided that they wanted to drop the nuke on.
I think they.
More.
Our listeners haven't heard. My idea for Chevy, if they want to do the SS going forward, is make it about CTS size, stuff the LT1 in it, keep Chevy with a nice, cheaper option for a performance sedan. And then you've got a 455 horsepower sedan you can throw against the Charger. You can stuff an LT4 in it, but they probably won't because they got the CTS-V, and no one's really going to beat Dodge in the horsepower wars. So,
yeah, Dodge decided that they wanted to drop a fast one in the horsepower wars. And we'll talk about this a little bit later. But if you do drop an LT1 in it, you might get about 131 horsepower at the wheels. Apparently, the new Chevy Camaro SS makes more horsepower at the wheels than the Corvette Stingray. But I know we both have a lot to say about that.
We do. We have.
So we'll talk about that later.
We did discuss it. So yes, the Malibu, which we started on, and somehow So Malibu, Dale doesn't like it because he thinks it's priced too high. He thinks it's going to depreciate a lot. Our whole sidetrack there was just all about the depreciation of this Malibu.
Right. So I think the Malibu looks good. I like the back of it.
It has that coupe-like look that you like.
Yes, it's got that coupe-like, that four-door coupe-like look. It's looking real coupe-ish right now. I don't really like the front of it. I think it looks like an Impala. And I think the bottom half of the grille or the bottom half of the front face looks like a Chevy SS. And I think it rides a little too high in the rear. Anyway, those are just my complaints.
I think when we see him in person, it'll look a lot better. Some of the pictures I've seen have terrible angles, so hopefully that helps. I will say the starting price is fairly cheap, especially for. I guess it's probably really in the range of what you get there. But if you get the LS, which is like the second,
I thought it only comes in one trim. I thought it only comes in the LT.
Well, the hybrid might. I was talking with them out. Okay, the hybrid has one trim. It should have some good features in it. I don't have the list of features in front of me. It has the LT. It comes with the LT features, so it'll have your Chevy MyLink screen. It'll have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, a backup camera, the 4G LTE Wi-Fi.
Yeah, load it out. So
LED running lights. I will see. I mean, I'm a sucker for the Chevy. I'm really happy with GM, actually, in general, putting Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in all their cars.
Yes.
That should help. Radio interfaces in cars are from the factory notoriously shit. I trust Google and Apple to keep their basically screen mirroring or whatever interfaces a lot more up to date than any car interface that comes out. So that's my favorite feature. I think it might also have built-in wireless charging, which I like in cars. You hate, but
I don't hate it. I just think it's stupid. I don't understand. Okay, I won't say it's stupid. That means I hate it. I don't hate it. I just don't really see how useful it is. Right?
That's it. For me,
I've got a cord. Like, why do I need a charging pad in my car? It's not going to charge my phone as fast as the cord will.
That's true. If your phone is dead, I would rather plug it in. Here's my use case for wireless charging in the car. I leave home. I pull my phone off the charger.
Yes.
I go to work. On my way to work, when I leave my house to go to work, take my phone off the charger in my house. I go out to my car, start my car up. My phone connects to my car, wirelessly starts playing my Bluetooth music. I throw my phone in a little cubby right under my radio, in the console area, right on my wireless charging pad. My phone's already basically full. So it just keeps the wireless charging just keeps my phone topped up. I'm going to ride to work while I'm listening to music.
So here's why it's stupid, okay?
Yes.
Say you want to change a song. You pick your phone up, change the song.
I don't need to pick my phone up to change a song. Why would you do that?
Say you want to make a text message.
I'm driving. I don't text and drive. It's dangerous.
Okay.
If any listeners out there, don't text and drive. Texting and driving is illegal in many states. It's very dangerous.
I still do it. So let's take a break from that real quick, and let me tell you about this person I saw texting and driving. And it really made me think about something, right? You can text and drive and be very good at it.
How does this relate to the Chevy Malibu?
Hold on. Or you can completely suck ass at it and use both hands while driving on the interstate while texting.
Why don't you just use your watch?
Because I have a Breitling now.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I don't wear my smartwatch anymore.
So,
$200 watches,
My smart Breitling / Rolex / Tag Heuer that I have, aka my Motorola 360 Breitling Rolex Omega Tag Heuer edition. I can use voice to text on that, and it's usually good enough when I'm driving. Keeps me safe.
I'm an old school gangster. Okay.
So, all right. So back, we're going to finish off the Malibu Hybrid here. We've spent half an hour on electric cars. It's just wholly unnecessary. We want to get to the fun stuff. So
I think the Malibu Hybrid is overpriced. I think they're right? GM is currently wholesaling their cars, right?
Yes.
And what I mean by wholesaling, which I'm probably using the wrong terminology, they're package selling their cars, I'll say, right? You want this car, you're going to buy it, it's going to have these options. You're not going to get a choice not to have not have these options, right?
Yeah,
it's good, right? You get a whole car, you don't have to worry about adding $1,000.
The CTSV and I think the ATSV, they don't have too many options either, I believe. I mean, some things here and there, but like I know, like the wheels, you get 19-inch wheels based on all the performance cars and stuff now.
You have the option of the color of the calipers that you want, what kind of seats you want, whether you want the sports seats or the normal seats, whatever they call them. Then you have a choice of if you want the carbon fiber package, sunroof, and I don't even think you get a choice of the spare tire. I think you get the tire inflation kit regardless. So there's not a lot, which is good, right? You know that if you're going to go buy a CTSV, your price is not going to be, or it's not supposed to be, dealerships no higher than X, right? We'll say $110,000 if you have the tri-coat white, whatever they call that, with the carbon fiber package.
That's so good.
A $10,000 paint option.
Yes.
Which is ridiculous and stuff. So you know when you go buy this vehicle, it's not going to be above this, including destination price.
Yes.
Dealerships. Other vehicles you don't really have to. You have to calculate other stuff, right? So it's good. And
you know what? The worst of options, period. In the all stop Porsche. You need to slim down your fucking options. It's absolutely insane how many options there are for Porsche. It's so. If you ever have a spare moment and you want to kind of dream, go to Porsche's website, build your car, and try and figure out what it is you want. Figure out what's compatible with what overlaps. It's a mess. I tried it one day. It was more of a headache just trying to figure out what option did what. If I added this package, what I had.
It's not as bad, but BMW is that way too. And I'll even say I was building a CTSV online, or maybe it was an ATSV. I think CTSV. I was building an ATSV online. I'm like, hey, I want the performance data recorder package and the audio, the sound system package, whatever they call it. I couldn't have the two together. I'm like, why the hell can I have both of these? Why can't I have a good radio and the performance data recorder? This doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
So all manufacturers are guilty of it. I would definitely say Porsche is probably the top offender. Oh, you want a door handle? Well, we have to get rid of these cloth ones, but you can't have the sports seat if you get a normal door handle. And it's like, what do these two have anything in common? Yeah. Why can't I have the sports seat and a normal door handle? Why do I have to have the stupid cloth door handle and the sports seats?
Because Porsche hates you. All right, so we must press on.
Yes.
Our next topic, a little segment we want to do, is it'll be a semi-regular segment on our show, hopefully. It's called You're in Charge, We're the Boss, whatever we decide to call it down the road. We haven't figured out the name for it yet that we want to stick with. But today we're going to take it over to Chrysler. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it out there on the web, but basically Chrysler recently got fined $70 million for failing to report safety violations or safety issues that they knew about to the government. So we figured it'd be a good time to say, well, the CEO of Chrysler, you're fired. Dove and Bizzle are taking over. And we're going to tell you guys, top to bottom, what we'd change, in Chrysler, Fiat, Dodge, Jeep, etc.
Yeah. So go ahead and give me my corner office in the penthouse. Put me some Ace of Spades in the bucket. I want some Makers 46. And a couple.
All right. So while Dale is planning out what beverages he's going to have in his office, I'm going to go ahead.
Beverages when other CEOs come in.
I'm going to go ahead and drop my plan. For the most part, Dodge's lineup, I'm solid with it. Dodge's cars right now, basically the Durango, the Charger, the Dart. Basically it. The Dart, I like the Dart. I think it looks good. My only big change with that is add add a hot model to it. So add that Dodge Dart SRT4. Dodge has a huge history with the compact car, the fast compact car, all the way back, into the 80s. They had the Omni. They even partnered with Shelby on the Omni at one point for the GLHS, which has a little cult following. in the 90s and early 2000s. In the 90s, they had the Dodge Neon with the
SRT4.
Before that, I think they had the SCCA package, the ACR package for the showroom stock class, and then the SRT4, which took the compact world by storm, and for the longest time held several records for the speed and acceleration and whatnot. So I think
then they came out with the Caliber SRT4, which
the Caliber was a ridiculous car.
I think it looked great. I like the Caliber.
Yes, it's
SRT8 at least.
It was basically a crossover, and the SRT4 version was a little goofy looking, just to see SRT bits that they added on the little hatchback crossover looking thing.
And I think it looked good at least.
Yes, I think the Dart really needs it. I think the Dart looks great. I think an SRT4 to go up against the Focus ST and hopefully an eventual Cruise SS.
That'll never happen.
The Golf GTI. I think Dodge needs a hot little economy car. I think it helps bring young people into the brand. You get the recent college grads with their first job able to buy that, then hey, they'll upgrade to your Charger RT. So
eventually.
Yeah.
After they get through paying off this loan debt.
Yeah. So moving on from the Dart, I want to hop to the Charger.
So,
what? I'm not done.
So, okay, I'll compile my notes.
You take your notes. You take your notes.
All right, notes being taken.
As soon as I finish Dodge, we'll do your side. We don't need a diversion.
Okay, so we're going to do Dodge, and then go over to Chrysler. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's
the Charger needs to move to a new platform. It's based on the LX platform dating back to Daimler Chrysler when they were working with Mercedes. A lot of suspension bits or old Mercedes suspension bits, obviously updated throughout the years, but your same basic setup. So let's upgrade that to a nice aluminum chassis, something like the new Alpha platform that GM has. Unfortunately, I think the Hemi as it currently sits, has to die. It's an old iron block. They're great engines. I love mine, but it needs to be brought up to the 21st century. GM's been doing aluminum blocks since the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s with the LS1. It's time for Dodge to catch up to that. I think once they can build their new aluminum V8, they add a lot of the features the LT1 has. I think that'll help them keep the Hemi alive, or their V8 alive, instead of having to kill it off if they don't, shave the weight.
Yeah.
Switching to aluminum will save some pounds up front, help build a better balanced car, and I think that'll really help bring the Charger. I think the trim levels on the Charger are great. The interiors on the Chargers are great. There's nothing really I'd change there. Just keep updating the styling. It's not too bad. See, there's not too much. Not too much to change on the Chargers at all. Just the chassis, mostly under the skin stuff. Hopefully that happens here soon. I know they're due for a major update. This 2014 to 2015 Chargers are considered a facelift basically by Dodge. So late 2017, early 2018, they're supposed to have their major next generation.
That's when they dropped the Barracuda.
Oh boy. Challenger, the same. I'm lumping it in with the Charger. They're basically the same car, minus some doors or adding some doors, whichever way you look at it. Durango, I think they're doing great things with it. Looks wise, it looks great. It has the engine options. As long as you keep the RT and the SRT8 version of it, I'm happy. Though I think they dropped the SRT8 version of Durango in favor of the Jeep Cherokee SRT8. I think you could have both, but if you want to go with just the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8, fine, whatever. Yeah, I think the Durango, like I said, Durango's an attractive option. I briefly looked at them, hoping to find an RT in my price range, but they seem to be holding their value decently. So Dodge trucks, whatever. I think the Eco Diesel that they've got in the 1500 is a great idea.
Brilliant.
I like diesel trucks.
The 1500s are getting like 30 miles per gallon. At least that's with the V6 and the 8-speed transmission.
Yeah, their trucks are doing great. Like I said, I really like Dodge. I like their interior, I like the radio, the Connect system they have. really solid system, simple, intuitive, not that hard to use when you're driving if you're trying to switch different options, switch your station, whatever. Mostly controls are redundant for volume and tuning it and air conditioning stuff. So yeah, that's my thing with Dodge. Big things at a Dart SRT4, update the chassis for the Charger, update the engine. Really not that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Was my turn now?
Yes, it's turn over to you.
Thank you. I want to start off with bring back the 100 Commando. Rest in peace, 1970 to 1980. So Dodge, I don't disagree with anything that you said, right?
Yes.
First off, I want to take it from a business standpoint and look at Fiat Chrysler as a whole. Operating revenue is up, or is it down?
I just realized I forgot about two vehicles.
No, because I want to talk about it first. The minivan needs a Dodge. It's just the fact that it's a Dodge.
I wanted to say
RT. It's insane. I saw one the other day.
Oh, we forgot the big one too. The Viper. The Viper's great. Don't change the Viper. I'd add an automatic transmission. I know people that love manuals are going to hate me because the Viper's super raw and everything.
Hey, I said it last week. Manual sports cars are dead.
You need an automatic in there to get the broad appeal to keep the car alive. I want to see more Vipers on the road. I want to see the Viper last. It will need an engine update eventually because goddamn a V10. Holy fuck, you can't keep that with emissions and everything going up and getting tough.
4 liters, baby. The liter door.
Oh, my last point before I turn it back over to you because I stole it. The Dodge Journey also needs to die.
Okay, now we have that. So back to our business savvy CEO goes.
Yes.
Revenue for Chrysler Fiat is up. Good for them, along with total assets is up. So that's good business stuff.
Yes.
So when it comes to Dodge, I'll run right down the list. Like I said earlier, the Dodge Caravan needs to die. I don't understand why there's a Dodge Caravan RT that blows my mind. I saw one the other day. By the other day, I mean like maybe 4 weeks ago when I moved to Milwaukee.
I think it actually is dying soon. I think they're supposed to get down to one
they said they're going
minivan.
to get rid of it, and everybody I used to work with cursed me. They were like, "Oh, haha, you've got that nice little Cadillac CTSV noisy sports car. Can't wait till you have kids because you're going to end up in a minivan." Never in my life.
There's no need for one.
Said Dodge Caravan, and I'm like, by the time I have kids, they won't have it. So yeah, the Dodge Caravan needs to die. I understand it was the first minivan, and they do have a ton of like cool features, right? I'm not going to knock that, but the simple fact that it's a minivan, you can put all those features into a SUV and be good. So the Challenger and the Charger, I think you hit it spot on. I think the Hemi needs to be replaced with something a little bit more economic and brought into the 21st century, right? That's what we're in. I think the designing is good. I think if there's anything Dodge is killing right now, it's and in a good way, not killing us in the stupid Dodge Caravan. But in a good way, Dodge is doing is really doing great at designs, right? I think the Dodge Dart looks good. I think the Dodge Dart sounds good.
Yes.
And I kind of wish they also did SRT version of that. I think it would be pretty cool and bring in more appeal to it. But overall, I think the Dodge Dart's pretty cool. The Journey, I have a different opinion. I like the Journey.
Oh my god, why?
Again, I don't understand. I think they look good. I'm not going to say
no.
Would I buy one? I kind of thought about it, then I instantly decided not to.
You're done. I'm cutting you off.
No, you can't cut me off.
Welcome to Audiomotive with Bizzle.
I gave you your chance. No, stop. I gave you your chance.
Touche.
At the end, thank you. We'll let you finish. First, I'm going to finish talking.
Okay, Kanye.
Yeah, Dovier. I like the Journey. I think it was good. I think the styling updates that they've done to it, what little they have done to it, I think we're all good taste. Again, I don't understand why there's an RT version of it, but for a crossover, I guess you can call it, it's about Equinox size. I think it's cool. I think it looks better than the Equinox, to be honest with you. I think a lot of Chevys normal common car lineup, for lack of better terms. It's kind of boring. Anyway, so like I said, Chevy Charger, I think you hit it spot on. They need to do a platform update. I think it would be brilliant to have to go the GM route and have one platform for all their sports cars. So their Viper, their Charger, their Challenger.
Oh, not the Viper. I think it'll say like the Corvette, where it's its own thing.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense, right? To have its own specialized.
It's just too different for something like that.
True that. So I take back my statement. The Durango, I like the new Durango. Ever since, you remember the commercial they had? It was Durango on the track, and it was like, oh, where's the Durango? And it's been in Germany losing weight. Now it's meaner, blah blah blah. I think that was a cool commercial. That was dope of Dodge to do. They're like, hey, we brought the Durango back, and it's not that slug Magnum Hemi engine that had 16 spark plugs in.
Hey, I have 16 spark plugs.
I worked with a lady that had a Durango.
What's wrong with 16 spark plugs?
It's got the Magnum. I'm like, what is that?
What's wrong with 16 spark plugs? Answer me.
It's huge.
I have 16 spark plugs.
It's what? And I have
16.
And I have 8.
More is better. We've established more is always better.
No.
All right, Dale. So
if you had AIDS,
so more is better.
No, if you had AIDS, would you want more AIDS?
All right. If you have horsepower, Dale, you have an option between 556 horsepower,
yes,
or 500 horsepower, which is better.
See, it depends because
no, it doesn't. All right, if you had all right. So
C6,
if you look
at Z06 and a Z28, which both have 505 horsepower, which is significantly less than 556.
Okay,
it's closer to
fine.
500.
All right, so if you're looking at your CLS 63 AMG, or you have your CLS 550, which would you get?
See, it depends also.
Oh my god, no, it doesn't. Stop lying.
Always better.
More is better.
Okay, I'd probably take the CLS 63 AMG.
Exactly.
S.
Horsepower. All right, so back to Dodge.
Dodge Durango, I think it looks good. I think it needs a little bit of a facelift, just minor touch and tweaks to kind of make it look a little bit different than it did when it came out in 2011, the recent model. So basically, when I graduated from college, the Dodge Durango came out. So I think it needs a little bit of facelift. But overall, I think it looks good. I think they should not have an SRT version of it. And the reason why is because the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8,
yes,
basically the same vehicle. I think it's sitting on the exact same platform. It's just it's the Vienna sausage version. So that the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8 is great. So I think having a Dodge Durango RT is it's enough, right? Especially for what it is. Which I did have a chance when I was in Salt Lake City a couple years back. I had a Dodge Durango RT as a rental car. Shout out to the Gov. And shout out to Hertz for providing that vehicle. It had, the steering wheel warmer, seat warmers. It was loaded out for it. And I was like, wow. That was right when I got my CSV, like maybe 3 months after. And I was like, man, maybe I should have got one of these. I was really contemplating it because it sounded so great. But anyway, so that's what I would do for Dodge.
All right, so
I'll make those updates. So let's push on.
All right, so we're going to get back to our You're in Charge segment next week with Chrysler, Jeep, or Fiat, whichever we decide we're most passionate about. Now we're going to talk real quick. We talked about it briefly before. The 2016 Camaro SS dyno video that Hennessy posted, showing that it made 431 horsepower at the wheels. It's being compared to their video of a 2014 Corvette Stingray that put down just under 400 to the wheels. As you all know, for the first time, Chevy's finally okay with putting the same engine. Well, I guess they did it last gen, but Chevy's putting the same LT1 in every Camaro and every Corvette. So, what do you think, Dale? What is your take?
So I had this opinion before I started digging down into a lot of other people's opinion, and coming off of the bat, I thought that if you've ever been on a dyno, dyno numbers can vary with the degrees in the Earth's rotation. So dyno, wow, that was really scientific. Dyno numbers change. You can have the same car on a dyno and do two different runs and have two different numbers. Now, a lot of factors go into that, right? Heat sink or heat soak. And specifically in this test, it's going to be hotter. And it looks like they do it in some type of steel garage. The Camaro, obviously coming out winter.
It's
going to be cooler.
I'm looking at the dates real quick when they posted the videos.
Okay.
The Camaro, they posted the video December 10th of this year.
Yep.
The Corvette was posted September 27th of 2013.
Okay. So it was closer to what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Still, it's hotter.
It's September. It's still, it's definitely going to be hot in September compared to December.
Yeah. So I think weather, barometric pressure.
How dense the air is.
A lot of things play into having a Camaro make 430 horsepower at the wheels versus the Corvette having just under 40. And foul on kind of Hennessy for putting out these numbers, and it's very misleading, right? If you don't know a lot, if you're just kind of looking into sports cars, which a lot of people I'll venture off and say aren't when they're looking at Hennessy videos.
I think, but it has grabbed a lot of headlines,
very noticeable. Or they know a lot about sports cars. You're looking at Hennessy videos in general, right?
Well, I would say yes, but that story got picked up by Car and Driver, everybody else. So it's made the rounds. I saw it on Facebook several times.
I mean, Hennessy drops something, Car and Driver picks it up, and they run with it. And I mean, this type of journalism leads off into other things like politics, which I won't get into. But I mean, they don't even acknowledge the fact that at least what factors lead into having dyno numbers. All you see is, oh wow, the Camaro's faster than the Corvette, and you'll have the typical automotive forum, I'll call him a douche, run around, and my Camaro's going to be faster than your Corvette Stingray, and from the factory, it just leads into a whole bunch of BS that people really don't want to deal with. I think it's foul that they actually put out this without kind of saying, hey, these were the variables, right?
I would be a more, I think it would be fine if Hennessy was, they got together a Corvette and a Camaro on the same day. They both have the same transmission, be it automatic or manual, and they put them on the dyno back to back. That would be fine. Would be perfectly fine. And you can't tell me Hennessy doesn't have the capability to do that. No. They just didn't want to take the time. They're getting the Camaro on the dyno, whether they planned for it or not, whether they knew it or not. They dropped the Camaro on the dynoed it, got 431 or 430 something rear wheel horsepower, and called it a day. Compared it to the LT1s and everything else, i.e. the Corvettes, and wow, the Camaros makes more horsepower. It certainly got people to talk about Hennessy, though. I mean, I think that's probably one of the reasons they wanted to do it is to pick up some publicity for everyone buying their new cars.
I have the opinion of Hennessy like James May had of the Nürburgring.
He ruins it?
It ruins cars. No, but Hennessy does a lot of cool work, I think.
He does do some interesting stuff. I know, I'm sure probably most of our listeners have probably heard of all the horror stories with him. You can certainly Google Henna Screwed and read all the problems people with, especially in the early 2000s, when he was big at the Vipers. A lot of Viper owners had issues with him. I'm not going to delve into them now, but you can certainly look that up and see the storied past of his shop.
Yeah. So I mean, to be able to take a Corvette Stingray from 460 horsepower out the factory, and give it 700 horsepower, that's pretty impressive.
Yes.
And it's naturally aspirated. I'm not going to knock Hennessy. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. But back to the dyno, a couple of other things you didn't touch on that can definitely make a difference. Like you mentioned, the air temperature is a big thing. The Corvette and the Camaro, obviously, they're going to have different air intakes, which will make a bit of a difference, different exhaust setups. It'll fluctuate horsepower, 10 to 15 horsepower one way or the other, give or take. the LT1 on that first year Corvette, it was the first year for the engine. So Chevy, they might have gotten better at putting the programming the engine, with the ECU on the newer models. So if they tested a 2016 Corvette, that LT1 might be is probably going to be a bit better programmed than the first year. The gearing is a huge thing too. On the dynos, the Corvette's got a different rear axle ratio than the Camaro, the manual transmission versus the automatic. I forget which one was which, but one was a manual, one was an auto. On the Hennessy dyno, all those things can really skew what you're going to put down at the rear wheels. Like a dyno.
So in the article, they said the car being tested is automatic transmission. The Camaro has a manual. So, I mean, that's it right there. If you look at the Pontiac G8, the GXPs, right? The automatics only have, I think, 400 horsepower, and the manuals had 410. Or maybe the automatics had 410, and the manuals had 425. It's right there in a 4-year-old, 5-year-old car.
It takes more power to drive an automatic transmission than it does, manual, just due to the complexities of each. The torque converters and the you have a torque converter and a couple other parts in an automatic transmission that you don't have in a manual.
Yeah.
It's
and I mean, one thing that is obvious that we both haven't even talked about is the mileage is probably on this Hennessy Corvette Stingray, right? I'm not going to say it's an astronomical amount of miles, but if you're taking a new Camaro, running it through the ringer, which I hope everybody who runs their brand new Camaro down the track with 600 miles on, I hope they all blow it.
Just break it in first. Be nice to your cars.
Yeah.
Especially so we can buy them used.
A year later and try to sell it for $10,000 more than what it's worth because it was the first Camaro off the lot. Nobody.
They also, you forgot, Dale. They also did air intake. Probably one that's really ugly. They used some terrible exhaust that gives you drone on the highway.
Yeah, even though it has bimodal exhaust.
They have some stickers on the engine bay somewhere probably. Probably lowered it. So you're going to pay an extra $10,000 for those mods that they put on. It's one of a kind.
I won't pay $10,000 to unscrew their car. Yeah. But anyway, back on topic. So yes. I think, the Corvette making 21 horsepower less than... So they did... So it says the Hennessy reportedly only got 410 out of their manual version of the Corvette. So comparing manual to manual, 21 less horsepower, that's a cold day and a dyno, and a dyno fluctuation as far as I'm concerned.
I think
it's just a story that they've just released to try to, and maybe it does give GM a boost on the Camaro sales, the Camaro SS sales, right? So maybe it's just kind of a joke. Hey, this is kind of what we found. You make of it what you will, but I think if you don't have a lot of knowledge on it, which car driver gets a hold of it, and it ends up on your buddy's Facebook, you don't really know that much about cars. You just know you really like the new Camaro, and now you're definitely going to get it because it's quote-unquote faster than the Corvette Stingray.
Yeah. So, wrapping this up, we got to wrap up the episode here. You could take two engines off the assembly line. They'd both give you different dyno numbers. There's so many variables. Like I said, I think it was just like you said. I think Hennessy shouldn't have dropped the numbers like that, but it makes for a good news story, one way or the other. Yeah. Thank you everybody for listening to episode 2, not season 2, episode 2 of Audiomotive. We're really excited to keep doing this. It's been a lot of fun. We've learned a lot. We hope you tune in for episode 3 next week, dropping Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, look out. So let's tell them about what's going down in episode 3 a little bit. So we're going to finish the You're in Charge segment with the rest of Chrysler's lineup.
Yes.
And then we have a couple of news topics that we're going to briefly discuss that we found this week that we're going to talk about next week because we're kind of running out of time. And then we're going to have a couple more things for you next week. Yes. So keep on the lookout for episode 3 of Audiomotive.
If you want to comment, leave comments on Facebook, SoundCloud, wherever you listen to our podcast. Make sure you leave a comment. If you've got any questions, if you disagree, if you think we're stupid, let us know. We want to hear it. If there's anything we can change, we welcome any feedback.
Yeah.
Bizzle out.
Good.
Dove out. Bizzle out.
Dove out. Wow. Peace.
Peace.